Good morning everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel BirdsEyeStitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do, and if you are returning, also welcome. I am assuming that you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. So either way, new or returning, thanks for being here today. Today is Sunday, it is June 27th, so we are wrapping up June. I filmed just last week, so I'm trying to get back into the swing of the filming on the regular basis. To everybody who left me comments on my last video, thank you so much for leaving the comments. I loved seeing the familiar faces, but I guess really it's the familiar names. So I love seeing the familiar names and just kind of being able to reconnect with you all briefly through the Flosstube comments. So love the comments. Always feel free to leave a comment on the video. I do try to answer every one of them. I don't have all that many subscribers, so it's pretty easy for me to be able to actually respond to every single one of them. So benefits of being a small channel, right? Okay, let's see, changes since last week. As you can see, I'm still trying to figure out the right orientation for this room. So I have purchased a ring light. I got it off of Amazon. It was all of $20. I think between the window behind me and the ring light in front of me, besides the fact that it gives me this like I am in HD effect on my face, which I will have to get used to when I look at myself. But anyway, beyond that, for the actual stitching, which is the important part, it seems to be showing the colors really nicely. So I think that this will work. And if it didn't, I have a $20 stitching light because I can just flip this way and it can sub as a stitching light if need be. I don't know. Okay, what do I have today? I've got some whips. I have a little bit of haul. I want to go over the plans for July. The plans for monthly magazine challenge, as well as just regular stitch plans. Now that I'm kind of in the groove of things a little bit more, you all know I like to plan. So we'll have that towards the end. And then I had some people comment about my tattoo. I didn't even realize it's been so long since I had filmed that yes, I have a new tattoo. I have others. This is my first good tattoo. You know, when you get tattoos and you're way too young to be getting tattoos, I have those. But the one on my arm is one that I've been planning for many, many years, so I will show that at the end, along with any type of life updates. I've been watching some Flosstube channels and I like the people who are giving their life updates at the end. That way, if you care to hear them, you can hear them. If you don't care to hear them, you can move on. No harm, no foul, no big deal. So, okay, to the stitching. I have no finishes this week. I did a fair bit of stitching, but no finishes. I do have a few whips though, and a new start to show. So let's see, we will start on the top of my pile. Hopefully everything is sort of within arm's reach. We're gonna figure this out. Let's see. Okay, so first up was temperature tree. You all know I am behind in the land of the temperature tree. I am keeping that one. Most of my bags are from Gary, but my Garan bag. The way that I usually do my projects and my storage is if it's a whip that it's gonna stay in my rotation, either like long term or something I'm gonna be working on a relatively regular basis, then it gets a Gary bag. If it doesn't, it gets a regular bag. So anyway, temperature tree by Stitching Mommy. I am here. So I'm stitching mine on a piece of 32 count Jobelin by Stitch Me, and the color is Awakening. So last time you guys saw this, I had January totally finished, I had February fully finished, and then I had the branch for March done and maybe a tiny little bit of April. So I finished April, I started into May, and then I stitched, you know, this whole middle area here. And then as you can see, there are a few leaves kind of way back here, but I've gotten a few of the leaves for, I had to count, January, February, March, a few of the leaves for March done. So my plan for this one before the next Flosstube is to finish all of the leaves for March. And then once that is done, I'll just finish up this branch. So that's that's it for my goal on this guy before the next video here. So this one will remain in the rotation here. So it goes back in the Gary bag. I figure if I take them out of the bag and put them back in the bag during the video, I have less cleanup afterwards, which is helpful. It's kind of like when you're cooking dinner, not that I cook a lot of dinner, but when you're cooking dinner, how you clean as you go. I'm gonna try that with the video. We'll see how it works. Okay, the next one that I worked on was a piece from the Magazine Monthly Challenge. I'm storing this one in my beautiful bag from Oh My Ada. Shelly is part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge group on Facebook, and she makes these beautiful bags. She gives them away. Every once in a while, she'll put up a post on the Magazine Monthly Challenge group, and a lucky winner gets a beautiful bag. So she also has a Flosstube channel. But I don't think that she sells these bags on Etsy or anything, which if she did, I would definitely be a purchaser. So anyway. All right, this one you guys saw last week. It is Spring Has Sprung, and it is in the World of Cross Stitching magazine. So it comes from this one. It will one day look like this. And mine, put this behind it. There we go. Mine is here. So you can see I got the bow done. The back stitching is not completely done, but you know I do not like to backstitch. Almost nobody does, but this design desperately needs backstitching, and the backstitching, it really does bring it to life. But I know if I keep the backstitching till the end, it will never ever happen. So I do try to do the backstitch as I go. This bow is not completely backstitched. I still have some area down here and down here to do. So my goal for this piece, just this week, is to finish the backstitching on the bow and then complete, there's a white flower going on here. So I'll finish up this white flower, and then what I'm usually doing when I stitch is I'll take one color floss and I will do everything within that area in that color. And then I'll just look around and see if there's another area nearby that I can use the same color, so I can, you know, cut that thread and then restart it somewhere else. But I don't have to rethread my needle because I'm lazy in that way, and I don't like to rethread the needle for the color changes. So I just try to use up that whole, you know, that whole string of floss. So that will be my goal, is to finish this white flower, finish the back stitching on this bow, and then it will get put away for a little while. I probably won't break this piece out for July, but you never know. We'll see what happens. It's not on my my current plan board, I guess you could say. All right, the last thing that I worked on is also a new start. So I showed this in a previous video. I have this beautiful piece that was passed down to me from my husband's grandmother, Jewel. So when she passed, I inherited her cross stitch stash because I'm the only cross stitcher really in the family. And so along with the stash of old charts and supplies and whatnot, I also received a number of her finished pieces. So one of the pieces in there was this really beautiful, I mean, if this does not scream bird wall, I don't know what does. So I received this. I don't even know if I can really, I put this all in one shot, like that, maybe. But what that piece is, I should have pulled this out first, is 1/2 of this Monarch Horizons Birds of a Feather piece. So she obviously stitched all of this one, but that leaves this one to go. So she stitched all of the wild birds. She left the hummingbirds. I definitely prefer this side, but that's okay. I'm going to stitch this side because the idea is to be able to hang up Jewel's piece and then to hang my piece, you know, right next to it, so we have both. Now, she stitched this on a piece of 14 count light blue Aida. And I think that I have the same one because when I received this, there was a bunch of fabric kind of left over. You know, there was just more fabric all in the same bag, and it was all tied up. So I assume that it's the same, but I've been working on it just a little bit, and it's maybe because this one is older and so mine hasn't faded yet, so maybe it looks a little bit different. But according to her initials, she stitched this back in 1991. So it's had a few years to fade. All right, so I'm stitching mine. Everything is as called for DMC floss, but it's on a 14 count Aida of some sort. Looks like this. So I just started this guy last night. You can't even necessarily tell that it's a hummingbird when I hold it up close like this, but that's a beak. So that is a beak, and that is a little like the hummingbird's throat, and that's a branch. So my goal for this is to do one hummingbird a week. So just this hummingbird alone, obviously it's not complete, but in this one hummingbird here, there is 10 colors. So there's a lot of switching back and forth with the color changes. I'm gonna try something new with this guy. Actually, it was in the same bag from James's grandmother. So she has, it's like a long board, and it's got an area, it's a big metal board that has glued on magnets. So there's magnets glued on there. It's like a magnet strip, I think. And then there's areas you can write down, maybe with a whiteboard marker. I'm not sure. I'm going to figure out how that part works. But you could write down the DMC number, and then you can lay your needle already threaded on it. I've never tried that before because it seems messy. But if I had all of the needles I needed threaded, that's a sort of tongue twister. If I had that put together for each bird before I sat down to stitch, I think I would fly through them pretty quick. And I could also see, you know, I really like to like wind my thread and put the thread away at the end of a project. It's kind of like, I don't know, calming or something. I could see it being calming to get the piece ready and then go and sit down and stitch. So I might try that. We'll see if that works. Either way, I think it is a doable goal to get through one hummingbird a week, or even if it's one hummingbird every 2 weeks, something along those lines. But this is going to stay in my rotation until it's done because I'm really excited to be able to do this piece alongside this piece. But as you can see, the color is a little bit different. This is definitely more blue and this is more green. So I don't know. I can't find a piece that's green. Came from the same bag. This blue might fade to this. We'll find out. Either way, it will be beautiful. I am excited to see it grow. I've been talking about doing that since the beginning of this Flosstube channel and even in previous ones. So it now has life. It is going to be worked on regularly because it is in a Gary or a Garon bag. I call them Gary bags. It's the wrong name, but it's in a Gary bag. So that means it's staying in the rotation. All right, that is all that I have for whips and new starts. My next pile here is haul. I don't have too much haul. I got a couple of the, you know, of the month club type things to show. So I'm part of the Color and Cotton Floss Club. I will probably stay in that club till the end of the year, and then I will end up swapping to somebody else. I really enjoy the floss from Color and Cotton, but I have a pretty good stash from them at this point because I have been a member for a year, and I get 5 a month. So 5 a month, I use them all the time, but I still have a pretty good stash acquired, and I'd be excited to try just somebody else. So for June, actually I had to look to see what month this was for. I got these colors. I'm in the All Colors Floss Club, so I get 5 all colors. The ones from this month, we have Brass Band. It's pretty nice. And then Admiral Blue, just a very standard blue there. A little bit of variegation to it. It's pretty though. You have Woolen, which is pretty close to the color of my shirt. Well, I guess it's a little brighter. Then we have Amaryllis. And Dusty Rose. So these are great colors. All right, so that came. The other of the month club that I am part of is through Fortnite Fabrics. I am actually part of the club, I forget what it's called, but it's the one that gives you the opalescent fabric. It doesn't say on this card what the name of the club is, but Expensive Rich or something like that. But anyway, I'm part of that club because I wanted to get some opalescent fabrics for Christmas ornaments and Christmas cards. I don't have very many opalescent fabrics in my stash. It's just not what I usually gravitate towards. But when I'm doing stuff for Christmas, you can't go wrong with some extra shine, extra bling. So this one I really like. For this club I got the 18 count Ada just because I'm going to be doing a lot of cards and ornaments and things like that. Ada is the easiest for me to work on for those things. And this color is in the color Tailor Made. This is a beautiful piece of fabric. I need one of those boards that goes behind, because now I have a window behind me so you can kind of see through stuff. But how pretty is that? It is just a really nice pink. It's got beautiful shine to it. Absolutely no idea what I'm going to put on this, but something. This will be used in the very near future. So I love getting that every month because I always get something completely different from anything that I already own, which is to me the whole point of the month club. It's something that you wouldn't normally pick for yourself. So received both of those. Then Totem Bags, they did a bag sale on their website. They had one that I just loved. It has baby animals on it. Look at the little owl, super cute. So I picked up the baby animals bag. I like the smaller size. They sell a larger one, but for me, this size is perfect because it holds my 11 by 11. I got it right. My 11 by 11 Q snaps perfectly, so most of my projects will fit nicely in this size bag. I have a couple of their larger bags for the bigger projects, but these are just the easiest for me to carry around and the easiest for me to store. So I almost always go towards this size. No bag can travel alone, so while I was on his site, I picked up the bag, and then I picked up just a couple of patterns. So I have, I got some patterns from Hello from Liz Matthews. I've never stitched anything from her before, but I watch her Flosstubes all the time, and I always love her patterns, so I picked some up. I'm excited to stitch them. First one I got was the 4th Day of Christmas Sampler and Tree Cross Stitch Pattern. Joy to the World. Shocker, I chose the one with the birds. This is charted. There's a DMC conversion, and then I think it's NPI silks. I will not stitch it in silks because I don't own any silks. Well, I take that back. I own a couple of silks, like random ones from Be Stitch Me and whatnot, that I will use on a pattern that has one color, but I don't have a silk stash. So I will either stitch this in DMC, or I might, find my own colors to sub in there. We will see. But I love these birds, and I do love her colors. So it's just really pretty. I could see keeping that up year round. It's not super Christmassy to me, so I would keep it up all the time. I got that one. I also picked up butterfly, I don't know how to say this word, cloche, whatever that says. I bought that. So my downstairs in the entryway, we have some butterflies up on the wall. Butterflies are actually not my favorite bug, but they're pretty. And this, I enjoyed again, I love the colors, and I just like the design. So this will sit, or it'll fit in really nice with the rest of my house. So I am looking forward to stitching this at some point. There's no birds, still very pretty. And then last but not least from the Totem Bags site, this is a complete and total impulse buy. I'm not even sure how I found it. Like, I didn't search for it. It might have just been, you know, at the bottom of the page where it's like other people may like, or you may like this type suggestions that it gives you. But I found a chart by Thistles. It's called The Flower Shop. This is gonna try not to let it glare because it's on shiny like photograph paper, but I had to have it. It's got trees, it's got flowers, a pretty little fence, and look at all of those colors. I don't know what color they have going on for the grass here. I gotta figure that out because, let's see if I can hold this. Yeah, whatever color they have right here, I need to make sure that I use because I just really love that variegation that they have. So I don't know when I will stitch this, but at some point I need to stitch this because it kind of reminds me of a Satsuma Street almost, but it's not. So Thistles, The Flower Shop. I don't know if anybody else has stitched this. I haven't seen it really stitched. I feel like I've never even seen it before. I probably have and just forgot, but now I own it, so we'll stitch it one day. Okay, that is all that I have for haul. You've seen my whips. I talked about a little bit of the plans for this week within these whips. So I want to work on the temperature tree, finish that hummingbird. There's not too much left for that. And then I need to finish the bow and the flower on my Magazine Monthly Challenge piece, even though that was my Magazine Monthly Challenge piece for May. June was kind of a wash. But July is coming up, and July is not a wash because it's not here yet, and I want to show you my plans for July. I also need some help deciding, so we'll just jump into that. So, Magazine Monthly Challenge group. If you are not part of that group and have no idea what I'm talking about, just a quick overview. The Magazine Monthly Challenge is a Facebook group that I run with my friend Carolyn from Stitch. Her and I, we've had a great time throughout this last year putting up, we have an acrostic and we have a theme piece. The idea of the group is to utilize all of those magazines that we all own, probably too many of, that just sit there and collect dust. Instead of letting them collect dust, we are trying to use them and stitch all of the things from them that we purchased them for. So most people will do a piece from the magazine for the monthly theme. Then the acrostic, I mean, there's truly no rules. The acrostic, you can use magazines to fill the letters, you can use whips to fill the letters that don't come from a magazine, whatever you want to do to make it work. The idea is just to have fun and to stitch, and hopefully to flip through some magazines. So, July. I tried to read and talk at the same time. Okay. July's theme is Christmas in July, which is very exciting because I love Christmas stitching. So for me, I use a piece from a magazine for the main theme. That's just kind of my own rule. I never pull a regular whip for that. So for Christmas in July, the only piece that I had outstanding that was Christmassy and they weren't really Christmassy. They were like some little card animal things, but they did not call my name. So I'm gonna do a new start for Christmas in July. It's gonna come from this magazine. This is the Ultimate Cross Stitch Christmas Volume 11 from 2016. This guy here. But I have 3 things flagged and I don't know which one to do. So if you guys have one that jumps out to you, if you will leave it in the comments, I am going to kind of leave it up to you guys, and by the end of the week, whichever one has the most votes will be the one that I kit up and stitch. So, all right, option number 1 is Scanda Christmas, like Scandinavian Christmas. These are little guys, little cards. The idea with this would be to stitch up probably 2, maybe 3. I do a 4-hour block on whatever my theme piece is. So 2 or 3 of these. I do want to get some Christmas cards stitched up this year, so this would just be kind of a way to start that out. I really like the colors on these. You just stitch the middle piece here, and then they've got it on some pretty paper, but I like the middle pieces. I would probably sub in my own colors as I usually do, but they look like that. The ones I would stitch would likely be the squirrel, maybe the bells, and of course, oh, the bird and the tree. So I guess 4, maybe 1 an hour. They're very small. So that's option number 1. Option number 2, this is a shocker. It is a bird piece. It's called A Winter's Morning. This one is a much bigger piece, so this is not something I could finish in a 4-hour block. Not by any means, but it's very pretty. It has a robin, very fitting. It's got a beautiful wreath. It's full coverage-esque. You know, this is full coverage. So clearly not something I could get done next month, but I could get a 4-hour start on it, and then it would come back out throughout the year. So that's option number 2. I like this one because it is wintry. It's not necessarily Christmassy. It could stay up all through the season. So, and who am I kidding? Once it goes on the wall, it's probably not going to come back down. So that's okay. All right, option number 3. It's a little different. It's also not one that I could finish within the month, but I love snow globes. So during the Christmas time, the things I kind of collect are snow globes and snowmen. I love snowmen, also love snow globes. So this is a piece called Snow Village. It is a snow globe. Can I hold this without the glare? Okay, that works. There we go. Okay. Snow Village. I don't know if I would stitch this with the border or not, but I like the banner and I like the snow globe. And it's just got a nice little charm. I'm surprised that I even want to stitch it because it's got houses all through it. But when you put the house in the snow globe, it doesn't seem as house-like somehow. So that's option number 3. So let me know which one you like the most, Snow Village, the bird piece, or the cards. Whatever one gets a vote or 2 or the most votes, I will kit that one up and that will become my theme piece for July. Then the acrostic for July is Jolly. I am using whips for Jolly. So let's see, hopefully I have these in order. I think I do, yes. So for J, I am going to stitch on, it's a piece by Satsuma Street. It's Aries. One day I will get all the way through all of the zodiac signs here. I really just love these because I love all of the colors. The zodiac signs that I really want to get and I really want to stitch are the new ones from, I think it's Mirabilia. I'm pretty sure that's who it is, but I'm not going to purchase those yet because I want to get the whole set, and that's a pretty big expense. So I want to make sure that I'm finishing a bunch of stuff, and then maybe when I finish something big, like this mirror that I'm about to show you, once I get that finished, it can be kind of a good job for finishing, and here's your new set. But in the meantime, totally different feel, obviously. I am stitching these. So this is Aries. I'm using it for J because Satsuma Street, the designer is Jody Rice. So Jody Rice, I will be doing 2 hours on each one of the acrostic letters. I'll go into what I'm stitching it on and all of that stuff when I show you the progress, but for right now, I have no idea what way this goes, but I am there. I know I'm stitching these on Ada. They all get a different color. More to follow on this after I actually stitch it. So that is J. For O, I know I've shown this one before, and it's kind of a weird one to use for O, but I use it for O because I say oops every time that I pull this project out, because I started stitching on it essentially upside down and backwards. So I'll explain what that means in a minute, but I am going to be stitching Scatter Kindness by Hinzite. Looks like this. My piece. Okay. However the heck I have this. have like a giant piece of fabric here for this, but I am here. So when I started this, I started it here, and on the pattern, I had the pattern like this. So I was just looking at the S. So you can see that this S, when you flip it upside down, without any of this, looks correct. So I started here, thinking it was gonna go S, K, you know, scatter. But then I realized when I actually looked at the chart that this S was the back end S of kindness, because I was holding the chart upside down. So now when the chart is right side up, you can see that that is the S on the back end of kindness. It still completely and totally works. I've just been stitching it backwards, so this way. I'm gonna get 2 hours of this, so I should definitely be done with the words. Hallelujah. I can move on. Let's see if I can hold that. There we go. I can move on to the whole purpose that I got the piece. I mean, I do believe in scattering kindness. I'm all about the kindness, but I'm also all about the dandelions. And they're like the dandelion fluffy ones that should look really pretty against this blue. So that is the O. I'm breaking this one out every time I have an O in an acrostic, just so I can say O is for oops. And I really want to get this one done. It's July. I feel I can get this one done through the end of the year. I think we have a number of O's in our acrostics. It's a pretty common letter. J-O-L. Okay, so next one up is L. I'm using the same piece for both of the L's. And for that, I am doing Beautiful Things by Lindy Stitches. L for Lindy. You all have seen this a bajillion times. Okay, so I like the ring light. I don't know that I love the glare. We're gonna get there. Okay, looks like this. And, whoa. So this is the piece that I'm a little bit worried about as far as sizing goes. I have rulers. Carolyn, you sent me a really cute ruler. It's a unicorn with a little pulley thing that comes out of the unicorn, but it's super cute. I don't know what I did here, but for some reason I started this piece way the heck down there. So I'm hopeful that this is going to fit, since I decided to start it way down there. See that? Way down there. We'll find out. But this is where I'm at to start. Here. I'm gonna keep stitching all the way down just to make sure. I mean, I still have plenty of space, as you can see, but still, I started it pretty low, and there's a lot to be done beneath that flower. So I'm gonna stitch down to make sure it will fit, because I have all the space in the world, you know, to the side. It's just up and down. Truly, I don't know why I started there, but anyway, that's where I'm at. So this will get 4 hours because it's gonna go for both of the L's. So the 2 L's are taken care of. We will see how far I get on that. And then last but not least, the Y. I am going to be stitching way over here on my Mirabilia piece. Y is for yellow. I am going to get some stitching done on, hopefully I can reach the yellow portions. So we are here. I started this with Carolyn this year, last year, I don't know. Mania last year, absolutely no idea. But I only did like this much on it. I mean, seriously, it's like teeny tiny little itty bitty bit of work right there. But this is a frame, it's a lap stand that I got from Garon. And I use this when I stitch in here in the craft room. I just set it on the table that's right here next to me, and it sits on top of the table, and I can stitch with it really well. I desperately need to get a grime guard for it. I don't know. Every time that I get a new Q-snap, I then like to buy a grime guard. I don't really care if it matches my projects. I just like to have a grime guard on each one. But then when I get on the site, then I get distracted by charts and fabric and floss. And then I'm like, do I want to buy a grime guard? I don't know. So one of these days, but anyway, we're here. I'm gonna put 2 more hours in on this, and then I'm actually hoping to keep her in my rotation, well, maybe not in my rotation, but I'm just gonna keep her up here in the stitch room. The idea is to kind of get up here more often before bed and put in just a couple of, just a couple of stitches in every night, and to keep whatever piece I'm working on will just be on the table. So I'm gonna keep the Mirabilia piece on the table, because even though there's a lot of counting and color changes, I mean, clearly, but it will be worth it. And I just really want to, this will be the first piece I've ever stitched that's like a full Mira. I've done a couple of the Nora Corbet fairies, but I have not done any of these, what I call big pieces. So I want to get it finished, because if I get it finished, then my reward is going to be the astrological signs. So I can have 12 more big pieces to finish. That's okay. All right, that is all that I have. So, oh, besides I was gonna show my tattoo. So if you are not interested in Tattoo Land, then thank you for coming. Happy stitching. I will see you all next time. If you are interested, I will show you real quick. It's not done. I will eventually end up getting a tattoo sleeve, something that I've wanted, I don't even know, since I was a kid. But then it was like, what do you actually want to put on the sleeve? Because it's going to be on you for the rest of your life. And so, being mindful of that, I finally figured out what I wanted and found an artist that I liked that could do it in the style that I liked. So, I guess I can sit on top of this chair. So we can stand, sort of. Okay, so this is not quite done. She still has to do some stuff in the background, just like some really, really light, so you can still see my skin through it, but it's going to be some light shading in between the trees to kind of be more of that forest look. But it is essentially aspen trees and dandelion, and the aspen trees on the part that's closest to myself, this is, basically kind of like some of the more like on the inside me. They're still growing, they're still around, they're still beautiful, but they don't have their leaves. It's just kind of a different feel to them. And then as you kind of turn the arm, the ones on the outside, the ones that are more visible to everybody else, they've got all their leaves and they are just growing away. So I've got the aspen trees, and then I have the dandelions, and I've got all 3 stages of the dandelion. A lot of this is just a lot of meaning, but with my mom and things like that, I grew up living in a lot of aspen groves, living outside and playing in the aspen groves a lot. And then the dandelion, my favorite flower. On top of that, I love the dandelion fluff, and there's just a lot of good memories associated with that. So I really like it. I'm excited to see it continue to grow. The part on the upper arm is going to be birds. It's going to be a couple of sparrows and just some little things in the background to kind of tie it together. So that is the tattoo. It is funny that I had people comment on that, and it just didn't occur to me that that is new from the last time that I saw you guys, because I've had it for a couple months now and it's just been part of me, so I forget about it. But okay, that's all I got. We are 38 minutes in, so I will get this uploaded. I will link I'll link the information to the Facebook page, the Magazine Monthly Challenge, in the comments below, or in the description box below. I will also link to my Instagram account, which is BirdsEyeStitches. I have been trying to put something on there, if not every day, every other day, trying to learn, trying to use the hashtags and do all of that good stuff. So check that out, and I guess that's all I have. So happy stitching, have a great weekend, and I will see you all next time. Bye.